Welcome to Tennisspin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, I'm going to be answering the top 3 questions that I always get, whether it be Instagram, comments, or emailed by all you fans. All right, stay tuned. All right, so the third question, the number 3 question that I get asked all the time is, I am a beginner and I don't know what to get. I don't know what I'm looking for in a tennis racket. So my question to them is, how old are you? How tall are you? And what do you expect to accomplish from the game? Now, most people are just going to be playing for fun. So I say just get something that, is 100 square inches, anywhere from 10.2 ounces to 10.8 ounces, and something that, feels good to you. Now, the categories that I just said could be pretty much, be anything. There's so many rackets in that category. The top contenders are always going to be like a Wilson Clash, Wilson Ultra 100, Pure Drive, Pure Arrow if you want more spin. But the top 2 rackets that I recommend is going to be a Wilson Clash 100 if you're on the slider side or woman, Clash Pro 100 if you're a man. Just because you can handle the extra little bit of weight, or a Pure Drive, which is 10.6 ounces, 100 square inch head, good for pretty much everybody out there that's starting the game. So the reason I ask how tall you are is it helps me gauge what your grip size could be, because you guys are somewhere across the world, and I can't really measure you person to person. So I can only guesstimate what grip size you could be. Let a professional over there check your grip size. But those are the top rackets that I recommend. Now, if you told me that you want to play USTA seriously, 4-5 player, junior high performance, and you want to get better, my obvious answers are going to be like a Blade 98, either 1619 or 1820, a Strike, or like a Dunlop CX 200. Like, those are my top 3 rackets for higher level players. Even that head Gravity is also one that I like a lot, either in the MP if you want a lighter racket, or a Pro. Okay, so those are my rackets. Now, if you're a little older, definitely get those easy rackets for you. My top racket for the older crowd is going to be the Extreme. Extreme Power is my favorite one for everybody who's, needs a little more power, plays a lot of doubles, and just love the sport, but can't get around that much anymore. All right, Extreme Power for you. The number 2 question that everybody asks me is, I suffer from tennis elbow, don't know how to get rid of it. What do I do? So my questions to them is, what kind of racket do you use? What kind of string do you use? How tight are your strings? And where does it hurt? So depending on where it hurts on your elbow, whether it be here or back here, will kind of depend on what you're doing wrong. So when it hurts up here, you're probably squeezing it too tight. When it hurts back here, you're pronating too much, whether it be on a backhand slice or a serve going this way, or you're just taking it late all the time. But the remedies will be pretty much the same. It's mostly you causing your own pain. I would say maybe take a video of yourself and see what you're doing wrong. Slow-mo it just to see if you're actually hitting it cleanly and out in front of you. I have recommended a lot of victory bands to everybody just to kind of alleviate the pain. You might want to consider some lead tape just to add some weight to the head, so when you throw the racket at it, that it doesn't crash into those strings as hard, so that your arm takes the punishment. But this will definitely help throw the ball out there a little easier without too much punishment to your arm. Now, for the severe cases, and you still want to hit the bad way that you do that causes your elbow, definitely get the victory band, definitely get some lead, definitely use natural gut strings, and maybe something that's a little easier on the arm in terms of a racket. Maybe something a little stiffer, lower tension in the natural gut to alleviate the impact, the hard impact of, the swing that you might be doing wrong. Now, there are people out there that just get tennis elbow from playing the correct way. You may be overdoing it, but tennis elbow is one of those things. Not a lot of people can take the punishment of that. It just depends on your genes, depends on what you were born with in terms of how much punishment you can take in your arm. I do like that VT Advantex replacement grip, whether you want leather or synthetic. They do absorb some of that shock, as well as some of that tape for your head, the head of the racket that absorbs the vibration. So that with the gut will definitely alleviate some of your tennis elbow problems. So the number one question that I get asked from all 3-4 medias is, what kind of string should I use? A lot of you are really great at telling me what kind of player you are, what type of racket you use, and how you play, which is fabulous because I need to know all of those things. For you young high performance kids and higher level players, I always tell you the same thing. It's going to be Solinco Confidential 16L. When you ask me what tension, after you tell me your size, your weight, I usually tell you probably a little higher if you're bigger and stronger, a little lower if you need a little more power and are a little on the slighter side. Now, for you guys who've never used a full bed of poly before, I have been lately saying Solinco Confidential 16L or 17 on the main, 17 if you want it a little livelier, and Gamma Pro React on the cross. React Pro on the cross. That is a winning combination for everyone. Now, for all of you guys who've been saying, hey, what's the best combination out there? Well, gut is always going to be the best. There's no doubt about that. Natural gut, always the best. I really like natural gut on the mains. If you want a softer feel and more power, with some kind of a poly on the cross. You can go Solinco Confidential, you can go Hyper G, you can go RPM, you can go ALU Rough like a Champ's Choice that Fed uses, and that will give you a great all-around soft feel. Now, for all you tennis elbow people that we were talking about in number 2, aside from gut, try the Triax full bed. It does break a little on the quicker side. All those Technofibers do, along with the X1 biphase and the NRG. Those are 3 great strings for your elbow. They just don't last very long, so don't freak out when they break fast. Or you can just go with straight gut. Now, for all you string breakers out there, a lot of you have said, hey, my strings just break after 2 hours. Well, how about some fish line or some weed whacker? No, don't do that. I actually spoke to my buddy about the fish line, and he goes, I told him what I did, and he said, yeah, you probably should have put a synthetic on the cross because it probably didn't play that well. And I'm like, darn it, why didn't you tell me before? He's in an old folks home, so I don't know if they allow him to watch YouTube. So, but he told me, like, next time you do it, put synthetic on the cross. It'll feel much better. And I'm like, shoot, I got to do it again. But it's okay. If you watch me, Pete, I'll talk to you soon. But anyways, back to longevity of strings. You might want to try that fish line with like a synthetic. It probably will last longer than anything else out there, including Kevlar. So for those of you who don't know what Kevlar is, back in my day, there was a string called Prince Problem, and it's Kevlar mains in a 16 gauge with a Prince synthetic gut 16 gauge on the cross. And that is the longest lasting string on the market. I believe it still is the longest lasting string on the market. It's really, really tough to break that Kevlar. It's really, really strong. Most people that I see break the synthetic first, which is the cross. But you can't go full bed of Kevlar or else it'll just be super, super dead. Even the way it is now with the synthetic on the cross, it already is dead. I mean, it's the lowest rated string in terms of feel and power. So, but if you're a string breaker and you need some longevity, that might be your only option aside from, a full bed of Big Banger Original or 15 light of that RPM. But I still think that Kevlar will last longer than anything else out there. All right, so keep the questions coming. I'll try to get to them as fast as I can, but those are my top 3 questions that I've been getting for the past year or more now. All right, thank you for watching Tennisspin, where we put our spin on your tennis.